This week on Previews World Weekly, Dark Horse and Netflix, Oni and Lionforge, and Matthew Rosenberg versus the X-Men. It's Previews World Weekly, and it's happening right now. What's up, Previews World? It's Wednesday, it's New Comic Book Day, which means it's time for Previews World Weekly. I am one of your hosts, Troy Jeffrey Allen.
And I'm Thea, and as usual, we're here every week to remind you guys to stop at a comic shop and get involved in what's happening in the world of comics. And
you saw, I'm just going to jump right into it.
Do it.
You saw Detective Pikachu this weekend.
I did.
I was a little surprised it didn't hit #1. Like, I know Avengers is a monster, but
yeah, no,
I
just
thought
taking over the world.
Yeah, you know, I thought this would be like the thing that would throw it off, but
no, I don't think so. But I was pleasantly surprised. When I saw the trailers, PikaPool is not my thing, you know? Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool.
Right,
He's not Pikachu.
Yeah.
So when I heard his voice in the trailer, I was really disappointed.
Oh, really? Interesting.
I wish that they'd used basically anybody else.
Right. Did you want the
Danny
actual
DeVito or something?
Oh, you would have been fine with any celebrity, just not.
Well, no, I don't care who. Could have been a non-celebrity either.
Right. Okay.
Whatever. But I got over it pretty quickly.
Okay, when you saw the movie.
And just enjoyed the heck out of it.
That's good, man.
Honestly, it's got a lot of good nostalgia going for it. All the Pokemon are really cute.
Okay.
You know?
All right. Yeah,
and it made you think, like, it'd be really cool if this were actually real. And it had a lot of elements that were like cheesy and goofy, just like the show is, the cartoon.
Right, yeah,
which I enjoyed.
I was always wondered how much it would be, how similar it would be to, like, I guess for me the reference is the cartoon, really. So, like, okay, that's cool.
There are some bits that I'm like, I see the goofiness being sort of made fun of.
Right.
We've actually been watching Twitch plays Pokemon seasons every so often.
Oh, the actual show. Okay.
Yeah, the show. So you just watch it on Twitch, but I'd forgotten how ridiculous it is, and how everything that happens, the character has to explain it to you. Yeah. Like you didn't just witness it happening.
Right. Yeah. Okay, I kind of feel like that's sometimes anime in general. So.
Well, yeah, it's a very anime thing, but it's really over the top with Pokemon. I feel like.
Right. So we're on the. I know video game movies always get. I would say a bad rep, but honestly, it's pretty appropriate.
It did a great job.
So it's like in the upper tier. On a very short list,
yes.
Good video game movies.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I think so.
Did you get a chance to watch the Watchmen trailer this past week?
Yeah, it looks very interesting.
It's interesting. It's just you can take the comic book nerd out of the comic shop, but you can't take the comic nerd out of the comic nerd, kind of. So I kind of had that moment. I was like,
right, yeah.
I don't know about this.
Yeah. Definitely questioning it a bit.
Yeah.
And it looks interesting, and they're taking it in a new direction.
Right.
Right. So
seems like they're extending past.
That's what I
guess the movie, not really the comics.
Right.
Right.
That's what it looked like to me too.
Yeah. So
we'll see how that pans out.
We'll see how it is. I had a moment where I was like, maybe Alan Moore was right. Maybe this is a questionable decision overall to just keep making these Watchmen things. So, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, if it's good, it's good. I'm not going to, I won't knock it, but I also don't have HBO, so what do I know?
Just steal that off my mom or something.
There you go. So it is time for What's at Comic Shops. Of course, tons of stuff came into your local comic shop today, and Anna Mee is here to show you what you can pick up. Check it out.
Hey Previews World, Anna Mia here with a look at What's at Comic Shops for the week of May 15th, 2019. So let's jump on in. Is that it? No way. Your comic shop has something for every type of customer. So stop at a comic shop today, and I'll see you back here next week.
Thanks, Mia. Of course, that's just a little bit of what's available. If you want to see the full rundown, head on over to previewsworld.com/new releases, and you can see a full list of what's out this week. What are you reading?
I picked up Spider-Man's Life Story, #1, like a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Cool.
Yeah, it's actually really cool. It's Chip Zdarsky and Mark Bagley. And, you know, so comic time kind of works different than reality, of course, right?
Right.
Like, I mean, everything in comics works different from reality, but...
Right, this is a series that's following real-life history, right?
Right,
Cool.
and so the characters are aging in real time. And it's interesting because they're deviating from continuity pretty early.
Yeah.
So they do interesting things like the first book is about Vietnam. And Peter Parker's wondering if he should use his powers to go to war, but everybody around him is against the war, except for Norman Osborn, because he's a war profiteer.
Sounds about right.
And so it's interesting because he has a conversation with Captain America that kind of convinces Captain America to go to Vietnam, but also convinces Peter to confess to Gwen that he's Spider-Man. So it's automatically deviating.
Yeah.
But I say all that to say it's really interesting, and definitely check it out. Like, you know, you don't have to be a continuity snob with this. Like, you can just kind of let it go.
Yeah.
And I find that kind of interesting about
Very much
it.
his own thing.
Yeah. So yeah, Spider-Man Life Story. The most recent issue is out this week.
I like that.
Yeah, check it out.
Very cool.
What about you? What are you looking forward to?
Adventure Time.
Yeah.
So this was a little, it's just 6 issues. It's a little shorty guy.
Okay.
And this is about Marceline and Simon.
Okay.
It's called Marcy and Simon.
Nice.
And it takes place after the TV series, and Simon is on a quest to sort of do good after his time as the Ice King, where he was terrible.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
The worst character, like, oh, he's so frustrated. But like in the best way as well. I really enjoy him.
Okay.
But he's not like a bad guy. He's just a bit of a bumbling idiot in a lot of ways. But he's fun. And all the Adventure Time characters are a lot of fun.
Okay.
It's one of those cartoons that I've actually managed to get into and enjoy.
Okay.
I know, like, everybody loves their Steven Universe. Sorry, I can't get into it.
Can't get into it?
I've tried very hard. It's not my cup of tea, but I love Adventure Time. And I've read a bunch of the comics as well.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah, but it's a lot of fun. You know, this issue, we're on #5 right now.
Okay.
And they're in the multiverse on a specific quest to try and save somebody.
Nice.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing the multiverse.
Yeah, you know, gotta get involved in the multiverse.
Yeah, right. That's cool. Okay. Yeah, no, like that's a new miniseries, and like I know people. I guess those 2 characters are kind of fan favorites. So
Yes,
yeah, I don't know much about Adventure Time, so, but I will take your word for it. Something else this week that I'm looking forward to. I actually have never read this, and it's considered a classic. Ronin by Frank Miller. I think like quite a few people kind of fell out of love with Frank Miller at one point in time, but I actually happened to go back and read another book by him called Martha Washington Goes to War, and it reminded me of just how much I loved Frank Miller's writing. And he's also one of the people that was like the first people that I read a comic that had adult themes by.
Sure.
But the Ronin book, I'll just read the description because it's nuts. It is the distant future. A great lord of feudal Japan is struck down by an entity of pure evil. A young warrior sworn to vengeance becomes a masterless samurai, a Ronin, trapped in an eternal struggle with the demon who killed his master. Then it flips over to, it is the near future. A great corporation in the urban jungle of New York City is preparing to unleash a deadly new technology. A childlike telepath and a tough-as-nails security commander are the only people who stand in this way.
What?
I have no idea what that means.
What?
But I'm on board.
Sounds good. Sign me up. Yeah.
Right. And I realized, I think maybe one of the reasons I never read the book is because it's like no one could actually explain to me what it's about.
Yeah. Like, I'm not sure what that is.
But flipping through it, it's classic Frank Miller. I mean, it's like the best form of the best of his art style. And I got the trade already. I already picked it up. Look at this right here. I already have it.
It's cool.
So yeah,
Cool.
a classic that kind of slipped through the cracks, and I'm glad that I can check it out.
On board, yeah.
What else is happening this week?
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Okay, you're right.
Has a bunch of stuff too. So this is Imbalance Part 2. It's the trade.
All right. Yeah.
And I love Avatar. It's funny. I didn't actually watch it when it came out.
Oh, really?
And I watched it somewhat recently, honestly, within the last like 2-3 years. I watched the whole series, and it is the best. Nice. So anything involving them, bring it on. So this is a little side plot where Aang and his buddies are trying to resolve tensions between benders and non-benders. So people that have the powers and people that are non-power wielding.
You said benders, and I thought of something completely different. Go ahead.
That sounds about right. I'm not surprised. This is also not in your wheelhouse, right?
Right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, a continuation of the adventures that they all have together.
Okay.
They're cool characters.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that in the show, everything is based off of actual martial arts stuff.
Right, yeah.
So I do Tai Chi.
Right, yeah.
Waterbending.
Right, yeah. I was actually about to say, I'm surprised you didn't get into it earlier.
Right.
Like, if you had told me that Avatar made you want to do Tai Chi, I would have believed you.
It was the opposite. I was doing Tai Chi, and then I saw Avatar, and I was like, I know what those are!
Avatar and Samurai Jack, because we talked about Samurai Jack last week, are two shows I know I would love, and I have not watched yet. So yeah, it's something hopefully I'll get to a point where I can sit down and just watch them. So I'm on board. Like, I don't know much about it, but I know I'll love it.
So good. They're so good.
Also out this week, the Batman White Knight hardcover, which is actually a comic shop retailer's exclusive. I actually got a chance to interview Sean Gordon Murphy. This book was like one of the big hit books of last year, especially for DC Comics. And the concept is basically, what if Joker went sane? And he actually ends up becoming Batman instead of Bruce Wayne. So definitely check that out. But yeah, I did an interview with Sean Gordon Murphy, and he walked us through the art process. He kind of took us inside the art studio. So definitely check that out. It's on PREVIEWSworld.com. It's part of our We Got It Covered series.
Nice.
And like I said, you can only get this version of comic shops. So definitely check that out.
Awesome. We also have Guardians of the Galaxy #5 out today.
Yeah.
And so of course we got Donny Cates on this one too, Jeff Shaw. And this one is about Hela.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Right, yeah.
Hella good.
Hella good.
Hela hath no fury is their tagline.
Oh, that's great. I didn't even know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so of course they're at the mercy of the goddess of death. And Hela's dreams of resurrecting Thanos are finally within reach.
Yeah.
So she's trying to bring him back. And of course the Guardians have to figure out how to stop that from going down.
Stop that from happening. I read the first 3 issues, and it reminds me so much of like just a 90s comic that you would have read.
Nice.
And I mean, it's not even like deliberately 90s.
Right.
It's just that it's got the right type of energy, and it's fun.
Cool.
And like, you know, it's like just a nice introduction to everything. The threat is so clear. Like, it's just very like simple fun.
I like that.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love that book. And so that's 2 recommendations. So definitely check out Guardians of the Galaxy. But now it's time for news. So Thea's going to go ahead and tell us what's been going on in the world of comics in the last 7 days. Check this out.
Netflix has closed a first-look deal with Dark Horse Entertainment. Under the new deal, Dark Horse Entertainment will give Netflix a first look at its IP for both film and TV, and has started exploring future projects. Netflix and Dark Horse have previously collaborated on the action comedy series The Umbrella Academy, which was recently renewed for a 2nd season, as well as Jonas Ekerlund's feature film Polar. Following the success of The Umbrella Academy, we're excited to extend our relationship with Dark Horse Comics, said Cindy Holland, Vice President, Original Content for Netflix. The Netflix teams are already working in deep collaboration with Dark Horse to identify projects beyond the world of traditional superheroes, branching into horror, fantasy, and family entertainment that we think our members will love. Seriously cool.
Yeah, I remember we were joking like a few months ago. Like, you know, Netflix was very like whatever about Marvel leaving.
Yeah.
And I think like,
boop, boop.
Yeah, it's like they already had this lined up.
Sure.
So I like, or at least at the very least, they were kind of like, let's take a look at this
They're
Dark Horse stuff.
it, yeah.
So
and Dark Horse is so good. They have such a wide range of stuff.
Exactly.
Like,
You're not anchored to a universe. You can do a bunch of different things for different audiences,
really
which
exciting.
is right in Netflix's wheelhouse. Yeah. You watched all of Umbrella Academy.
I did.
And you loved it, didn't you?
Did.
Okay,
It's
right.
I really enjoyed it. I want to actually read it now too, because I know, of course, it's going to differ in a bunch of ways. But like, I really enjoyed the series. They did a good job.
Right. Did you watch Polar at all?
I didn't.
Okay, it's interesting. Like it's very cartoony, which I think initially kind of got me into the idea of watching it.
Interesting.
It's very over the top.
Yeah. Trailer.
Right. Yeah. Like we talked before about how like the villains like definitely looked comic book-y.
Oh sure.
But like the whole movie's kind of like takes that angle, and like it's bloody as hell. So. But no, it's cool. Like I'm glad Netflix is doing that.
Yeah,
I think
it's exciting.
Yeah, I saw Hellboy in the theater. I kind of wish it was a Netflix show. Like I got the impression that maybe like it would have worked better as like segmented, because there was a lot of like little side stories.
Sure.
So
I feel like there are a lot of things that work better as shows.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Particularly in the comic world.
Right, of course, because so many of them are serialized anyway, so or episodic.
So it lends itself very easily to a serial TV show. So hopefully some good stuff comes.
Oh yeah.
Next up, Boom Studios, under license by Hasbro, revealed a first look at Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 40, by the all-star team of acclaimed writer Ryan Parrott and shattered grid artist Daniele Di Nicuolo. This will kick off the first issue of the epic Power Rangers event Necessary Evil, with the first appearance of a mysterious new team of Rangers that answers one of the biggest mysteries in Power Rangers history. The Rangers are back in Angel Grove, with the White Ranger as their leader. But what happened to the team after they defeated Lord Draken? That answer, and more, arrive in the first chapter of Power Rangers Necessary Evil as shocking secrets are revealed. Catch this epic event with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 40 arriving in comic shops on June 26th.
Cool.
Can't go wrong with some Power Rangers movies, right?
No, you can't, right, yeah. And they're switching up the team, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah,
It's
we'll
been
see.
rolling for so long.
It has been. Like, it's kind of unstoppable.
Yeah.
I like some certain properties, I'm like, this is going to be a fad, and then it just rolls on and on.
Yeah,
and like,
you're just like, oh, okay.
and you know, I mean, I know you've been to comic conventions. Like, when one of those Power Rangers shows up, like, they're just signing stuff for hours
so
on
true.
it.
It's so funny. It's very interesting,
Yeah.
yeah. And they go to a lot of shows.
And they go to a lot of
I
shows.
have been to shows for years now, and I think there's been one at least every one of them.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, they
So,
get around.
Go Power Rangers.
Go. Lion Forge and Oni Press have announced a merger which will set the two companies on a path to becoming the premier destination for original graphic storytelling, gaming, entertainment, and more. Polarity, the parent company of Lion Forge, will become the majority owner of the new combined entity, with James Lucas Jones serving as president and publisher and the Oni team leading creative and business operations. The combination of the two companies creates a leading industry player focused on creator-owned, cutting-edge, licensed partnerships and original content. Both companies are renowned for engaging diverse and underserved audiences. Additional information on the company's respective output and consolidation will be announced in the coming weeks.
Cool.
Very cool.
People have some really strong feelings about this.
Oh, yeah?
And yeah, it's actually very curious. As a matter of fact, I made this mistake of engaging people online about like why they're so upset about
That's
this.
your job.
I mean, it is my job. This is true. But like, yeah, I got a little bit of snark for it. I got to be honest. Yeah, I think it's like.
Sassy.
Look, you know, when two companies merge, people get laid off. Like, that's what happens.
Yeah.
And I think it's just one of those things, like, comics are so small that,
It hurts more.
yeah, like, because, like, you know somebody knows, if you talk to any random professional in comics, they probably know someone who got laid off
Yeah.
and then, like, in this merger.
Sad, yeah.
So,
That's rough.
yeah, but I mean, I you know, take the wait and see approach. Like,
Of
I think,
course.
like, you know, yeah, there was like some creators and people got laid off for talking smack on Twitter about the merger, and I'm like,
Well,
it's not really what you're supposed to do
no.
if you want more work. But
You just make yourself look bad
yeah, but
by being whiny.
yeah, but you
Be
know,
an adult. Pull it together. This is the way the world works.
Yeah.
It's not always going to go in your favor.
send all hate mail to Thea.
Totally.
I didn't say that, she did. But yeah, so I mean, we'll see what happens. Like, I think it's interesting, and like they're maintaining their superhero line with Lion Forge, but
Yeah.
Oni has, of course, Rick and Morty, and like they have a bunch of other things, like, you know, licensed stuff. They do Invader Zim.
Super popular stuff.
Yeah, so like very popular stuff.
Absolutely.
So you know, I think it's good for both companies.
Yeah.
That's my personal take.
I agree.
You know, if that's accurate, we'll find out.
Yeah.
But
Again, we can't see the future.
we can't see the future.
We gonna find out
We're gonna find out.
together. Finally, Marvel has revealed their plans after a massive blitz of creators have announced they are working on a secret project. Per a reveal of the New York Times, they've announced Marvel Comics number 1000, an 80-page one-shot that features 80 creative teams chronicling 80 years of Marvel history. These teams range from Al Ewing and George Perez to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Raymond Obsfield, and Mattia De Luis. The main cover is painted by Alex Ross. Marvel Comics 1000 will be available at comic shops August 2019, 80 years following the publication of Marvel Comics number 1.
Nice. Yeah.
Big old milestone.
Big milestone,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, and we're just gonna keep getting a string of milestones.
Good.
I think like Wonder Woman and Aquaman might be next year, and like, yeah, it's just that, you know, this is how these things are. A lot of these characters were created around the same time,
That's
or
true.
these entities. Yeah, no, this is a bonanza. Like, this is like, yeah, I'm really all for this. There's like, the list is weird. It's like certain legends, right? Some legends you're like, oh, cool, right? And then there's a couple of like, what? And some like, you know, recent like stars who have been like, you know, made over the last couple of years.
Sure.
Like, I know Kelly Sue DeConnick's on that list.
Nice.
Al Ewing's on that list, of
Yeah,
course, like you
yeah.
mentioned. And there's a few that's like, I don't really need that guy back, but okay.
Ooh.
But I mean, like 80 years, I'm a sucker for comic book history in general.
Yeah.
Like, I just love that stuff. I eat it up.
great.
I always find new corners of things that I didn't know about. And so anything that's celebrating a milestone like this, I'm totally on board.
Well, it's also great for anybody looking to get into comics. Right?
Oh yeah,
because it gives you a good overview. It gives you little snippets of things that you get to see when you don't have to end up like slogging through the history on your own.
Right, it's just one shot.
Handed it to you.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to Marvel Comics 1000, and also the Alex Ross cover is great. So
very good, very good.
So now we're going to go ahead and do Toy Chest news. Well, just Toy Chest, Previews World Toy Chest. Natasha's here, and she's going to show you what is also available that's not comics, but toys, collectibles, etc. Check it out.
Hey Previews World, Natasha here to give you a look inside the Previews Toy Chest. Let's find out what's at comic shops for the week of May 15th, 2019. Want to see more? Be sure to check out Talking Toys, our weekly show that spotlights new collectibles on the way to your friendly local comic shop. Just head over to PREVIEWSworld.com/talkingtoys to find out more.
And you can check out all the toys and the collectibles available at your local comic shop this week. Head on over to PREVIEWSworld/Toy Chest, and everything will be listed there for you, including news and like updates on just what's going on in the world of toys. But anything in particular catch your eye this week? Or
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
Yeah. She's so beautiful.
Right. You really can't go wrong with Joelle Jones. Like
Yeah.
I know you were saying that, and I totally co-sign that. Yeah.
Gorgeous work, as always. And the Lady Death figure.
Right. The Lady Death figure is pretty cool. Yeah. I know Natasha does like a bunch of selfies with a bunch of different ones. And she definitely did one with that.
Yeah.
But instead of the eternal flame, it was like a bottle of Windex.
Yeah. It was as blue and translucent as she could get.
Right. Yeah. Right. So yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like follow Natasha on Instagram, and it's Canon Doll X. She'll she does like these little selfies. They're always hilarious.
Hands it up. It's great.
She does. Right. She has a fun time with it. But you can win the Rogue this week, right?
Yes.
So how do they win?
Well, first off, here it is.
Yeah.
Bam.
Oh, nice.
Boop.
Mm-hmm.
That looks pretty cool.
It actually does look pretty
I'm
cool.
here for it.
It's got the interchangeable gloves.
Yep, she's got her little connecting diorama bit.
Right, yeah.
Which is part of the series. I know that they all come with their little like background things that you can all stick together and make yourself the...
All the Danger Room, I think? I think they're all part of the Danger Room. Yeah, I think it's
the Danger Room,
yeah.
For sure. So if you guys want to win Rogue, comment on YouTube or Facebook, wherever you're watching us, and let us know what your favorite X-Men story is, and you could win this pretty lady.
There you go. And actually, I damaged this a little bit. Sorry, guys.
Can't take Troy anyway.
Just let him there in the corner.
Give him in. This is why we can't have nice things.
This is why we can't have nice things.
You're the reason.
Hopefully you're not a stickler for...
keeping it in the box.
Right, the blister box packaging, because
Sorry. And of course we have our winner from last week. So the winner of the Batman animated series Hardak figure is Dusty the Maverick, who responded saying, "My favorite Batman the Animated Series episode is Christmas with the Joker."
Nice. Yeah. That's a good one, actually. Yeah. Good.
Solid.
Good on you, Dusty. So now we're going to go ahead and take a look at trailers like we usually do every week. This is Sea of Stars, and it's actually one of the titles featured on the cover of this month's previews, and it's by Jason Aaron Dennis, formerly Dennis Hopeless, now Dennis Halem. Check it out. have Sea of Stars from Image Comics that's actually available to pre-order at your local comic shop now, and it's got 2 pretty big writers on it, so definitely check it out, especially if you're into sci-fi. But now it's time for Social Swamp, and I'm going to cling desperately to my notes for this one, just so I don't get in trouble. So you're going to see me looking at this a couple of times. I just want to provide some context. So roughly for the last 2 weeks, Matthew Rosenberg, the writer of Uncanny X-Men, has been kind of in Twitter jail, for lack of a better term. Because of the way he killed off a particular character. Now, that's not the actual issue here. Well, I'm sorry, killing off the character is not the issue here. It's what people saw into, what people thought was the subtext of the actual, like, the death of this character.
Basically audience reaction.
Audience reaction. And he made an apology, but, kind of. But like, you know, I think, God, this is really tough. So, the question was that his intention, or was that what people were seeing into it?
Sure.
And I thought it was an interesting question to ask because it's been something that has been, I think, an ongoing issue in the last couple of years. So that was a question for this week's Social Swamp, and I'm going to kick it over to Thea so she can get in trouble too. All right, check it out, Social Swamp time.
So we posed the question to you, the audience, which is more important to a story? The intent of the storyteller or the audience's reaction? And we got some reactions from you guys. First up, we have Nakia Henderson, who said, the audience reaction at the end of the day is just an opinion, and opinion only really matters to the person who holds the opinion or those who agree with it. The storyteller's intent is not an opinion, especially if the storyteller explains their intentions, then it's not up for debate, it's a fact. Patrick Keeley said, I think intent is more important than the audience reaction because we live in a world where mob mentality can cause outrage very quickly. This can distort what actually happened in the book. Take Batman number 50, for example. People were all upset because the wedding didn't happen, but we were shown how Bane has been manipulating events in Batman's life for a very long time. Evelyn Faith Moon said, the reader walks away with whatever they walk away with. You can't go back and tell them what you meant. That would be kind of like explaining why a joke is funny. It doesn't work. Tell the story, set it free, and let the reader hold their interpretation. Charlie Williams said, I think when you spend too much time trying to chase a certain audience, you run the risk of never catching one as the times change, and audiences' reactions do too. Sarah Kimmel said, the onus of being understood is on the communicator, not the audience. If the audience doesn't get the intent of the communicator, then the communicator didn't do their job effectively. Intent is only as good as the audience understanding. So this is like an age-old question.
It really is,
in the art world.
In the art world, yeah, 100%,
period.
yeah.
And honestly, I can't take one side or the other, personally.
Okay.
Because they're both very important things.
Yeah.
I don't think that you can say one is more important than the other because interpretation is going to happen.
It's a relationship, right?
It is absolutely a relationship. And honestly, even when you start out making a piece of art with an intention, who knows if anybody's going to see it?
Right, yeah.
And a lot of people make art with the intention not visible on purpose.
Right, yeah.
So there's a lot of give and take and a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah.
It's one of those very murky kind of gray areas.
Yeah. So there were a lot of great responses. Actually, I was surprised how good the responses were because sometimes you just kind of get someone who just wants to troll. Yeah. But like, a lot of really great responses, and it was a shame that like we couldn't highlight more of these. But we only got a 30-minute show when we wanted it to be 30 minutes.
Yeah, but like seriously, I only read like parts of some of these responses too. Like we got a lot of insight from you guys. That's really awesome. So thanks for that.
One thing I noticed, and this is just an observation, but like I saw it on our Previous World page. I saw it. We posted it to Free Comic Book Day too. There was a gender divide here, and I thought that was really interesting. Like because I definitely saw more female fans siding with. Not necessarily intention, but like how the audience reacts to it, which I think is not that surprising when you think about it. Just because like I know like fan fiction exists out there, and like it skews towards a certain demographic. I don't think that's any big secret. No. So yeah, I just it's weird because like the last couple of days. I've been seeing a steady stream of similar conversations, not necessarily related to this, but I know that people are upset about Game of Thrones, like the last couple of weeks.
They sure are. I know nothing of what's happening.
Yeah.
I watched like one random episode because I was at a friend's house and they happened to have it on, but I am so far behind that I barely have any context for anything anymore. But everybody very mad.
Everybody's mad about Game of Thrones. And also Endgame too. I saw a few people who were like upset, like particularly about like the Hulk. Like I saw a few people who were like, you know, why didn't he fight Thanos? And you know, it was one of those things where I'm like, but he brought everybody back. Like that was his story. Like, you know, like
they each have their own parts to play and they played them.
And they played them, right, yeah.
It's not any one character's movie, it's the overarching movie, right? So anybody complaining about like one specific character arc or storyline, it's like that wasn't the focus.
Right, yeah, so. Exactly. My personal take on this, and I don't know if this is really an answer, but it's my personal take on this, is like the last roughly over a decade, there's been this push for user-generated content, and so like, you know, you see like, you know, YouTube and like, you know, blogs and live journal and like, you know, all this other stuff. User-generated content was the buzzword for a very long time. And look, I've benefited from it. Like, you know, like, I mean, it's just part of like that. I don't know if you've benefited from it, but I mean, that's, you know, that's the relationship we're in now with like, with media.
This is how it works.
This is how it works. But like, I think it also kind of maybe set a bad precedent.
Yes.
And that like, particularly for entertainment, because like we are getting a lot of, we overvalue reaction videos now, we overvalue fan theories now, like, you know, we overvalue like, and like, you know, I think this Uncanny X-Men thing is kind of a prime example of that. It's just like what the audience is taking, and it's not even like, I don't want to say necessarily the majority of the audience, I just think it's a very particular corner of the audience, is taking away from it. And no one's actually asking what was the writer's intent. No. And even Matthew Rosenberg, I don't think he actually said whether or not. He just was like, look, I understand you guys are upset about this. Sorry, you know.
And he doesn't have to give an answer.
He doesn't have to, right?
At all. I mean, that's the other thing about art. Like, he doesn't have to tell you why he did it.
Right, yeah.
And, you know, what your reaction is your reaction. Sorry, guys. Like, this is his interpretation. It's his story. And he told it, and he's going to tell it the way he wants to. And you guys can go suck air, honestly, you know? It's just the way it is. And I do agree that social media has made it so that the public can give a lot more flack to people individually that way.
Right,
and that's just such a negative thing.
It is, yeah.
I mean, and of course I have a friend who has applied that to, of course, the Sonic business, right? Like,
the new
that
trailer,
was their interpretation. Like, why are we getting up in arms? But it's, you know, inevitable that something that age-old and loved is gonna have that kind of reaction.
Right.
So it goes both ways.
It is, it does. And like, I mean, it's the eternal struggle. I don't know if I necessarily have an answer. I think that I've always, the way I've engaged with media, even when I was younger, was like, I would go see something and then I would read what the creator was kind of like trying to get across from that. I did that with movies, I did that with TV. I did that when I was like 12. Like I was like, what is Steven Spielberg talking about? Like, you know, like why did he make Jurassic Park, you know?
I've never been that kind of person. I've always just taken art at face value. I mean, I have my own interpretation, but I've never been the kind of person to get up in arms about it. It's there's that piece of art, this is the reaction I had, and there we go. That's cool, or not, or whatever. So
I mean, in general, I'm glad we were able to have this discussion. I'm glad we were able to provide this discussion for people, and like, keep that conversation going. Like, I think it's interesting, and like you said, it's age-old. Like, it's not going to go away.
No, it's not. No. I mean, I went to art school, and we talked about that a lot.
Right. And I studied film. I totally understand. Like, it's an age-old question. It's not going to go away at all. So now it's time for Comic Shop shout out. So who are we featuring this week?
This week we have Looking for Heroes in Kitchener, Ontario, and that was sent in by Ian, so thank you for that.
Nice.
And of course, if you want to get featured on the show, let us know on social media, wherever you can find us, what your favorite local comic shop is. Use the hashtag #SupportYourLCS, and you could get on the show.
And that's it for this week on Previews World Weekly. I am one of your hosts, Troy Jeffrey Allen.
And I'm Thea, and we'll see you at the spinner rack.
Watching Previews World Weekly. If you like the show, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future episodes.